We had a crazy weekend of sales. Let me give you a sneak peek of what we sold. Hello, welcome back. If you happen to be new here, my name's Julie and my husband Justin and I are full-time resellers, and lately we have gotten into buying storage units. So like 2 weekends ago, we had an amazing amount of sales. We shipped out it was 60 items total. A lot of items were in bundles. So in this video, we're just gonna go over all the sales so you can see, what's been selling for us on eBay.
We picked up 2 of these Hummel chimney sweep figures. It was a very interesting one. They're riding a pig. We sold both of them in the same weekend, so this is the first one. It sold for $19.99 and we got it at a free pickup. We got this vintage cat metal sectioned pillbox in our 6th storage unit, the one we call the Debbie unit. It sold for $7.99 in my 20% off sale. You'll see throughout this video, I sold tons of these coin collector's pages. These were all in a storage unit that we bought. We call it the Butler unit because it was in Butler, PA, but it's a unit that I paid up for. It's the most I've ever paid for a storage unit. I paid $700 and some for it. And there was tons of coins in it, so a lot of people bought various ones. So this was the first one to sell on this day, and it sold for an offer of $15. We got this Peter Millar Summer Comfort polo shirt in a free pickup. It sold on an offer for $13.67. DG2 Diane Gilman blouse. This was in the Home Shopping Network compulsive shopper storage unit. You'll notice any clothes that are sold throughout this video are sold for pretty cheap. We are getting out of clothes. The only time I'm really ever listing clothes is if I pick up ones in storage units that are worth listing. So this one sold on an offer for $11. I picked up these Pope coins in a lot of different Pope items at the local auction. This sold on an offer for $60 and it was going overseas. I think I paid like $32 for all the stuff I bought, but there was another lot of coins and a music box also. I accepted an offer on these Lennox Winter Greetings carved cardinal footed Christmas mugs. I got them out of the Genie storage unit and they sold on an offer for $19. These were a 99-cent day pickup, so I've had them for a while because I haven't been to 99-cent day in probably like 6 months. I accepted an offer of $9 on these Charter Club women's pants. They were new with tags. In the Butler storage unit that we paid up for, there was so many VHS tapes and DVDs. We sold a huge lot of them on Facebook Marketplace. We sold some at the flea market. We sold some at our garage sale. But I went through and pulled out the ones that had enough value that I felt were worth listing on eBay, and this was one of them, and it sold for $19.99. Orange is the new black. We paid $1 for this. It was like a gingerbread cast iron pan. It was new in the box. We got it at a local, they kind of like a thrift store, but they do estate cleanouts, and they made like a huge section of the store. Everything was only $1 in it. We picked this up and it sold for $31.19. We've had this tiger for quite some time. He came in the Home Shopping Network storage unit, which was only the 4th unit we've ever bought. And I even put him out at our dollar garage sale and no one bought him. Then I relisted him and he ended up selling on an offer for $18.79. He was really cool. He was like a vintage leather wrapped tiger and he was decent size. The makeup from the Genie storage unit is definitely dwindling, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch previous videos, but we give all of our storage units nicknames. This one came from a storage unit that had a giraffe in it. I named Jenny. There was tons of vintage Estee Lauder and Clinique makeup, and this one sold for $19.99. Justin picked this cookbook up at half price books and we paid up for it. We paid $8.55. He was there selling some books and he just happened to look. But I've talked about this kind of cookbook so many times on here, but it's from our local PBS station. It's WQED, and they have a series of cookbooks, and some are worth a lot of money. And this particular one sold for $63.99. So even though we paid up at $8.55, it was still an amazing profit. We went to a free estate clean out and they had tons of various pieces from all different sets of nativity scene, but they were all the Holland, like the kind that you would paint yourself. But there was numerous sets because I had like 5 camels and like 8 sheep and probably like 9 wise men. So I just listed them all individually. So this person bought this king for $15.99, and they also bought a sheep, which I won't bother showing, for $5.88. These 4 Corral Winter White Frost bread and butter, they were like the small, could be used as a dessert plate even, were picked up in storage unit number 6, which is the Debbie unit, and they sold on an offer for $13.59. Another item from the Debbie storage unit, their cooling pillowcases, they sold for $9. All right, we have some more coins. People were buying them in groups, as I said, and actually some of these people have come back and bought second groups for me, but this silver piece dollar sold for $15, and they also bought one that just had a buffalo nickel on it for $5.99. I was so glad to see these sell. We have had these since Veterans Day of last year, so November of 2024. Our Goodwill outlet did a big sale if you were a veteran, so Justin went, and he paid $16 for, they had it pre-priced like in a box for these Manga books. And they comped decent, but we've had them forever, so finally they sold for $55.99. This cute vintage hand-painted, it was wood, Baltimore Oriole pin. I got this when we took all the leftovers from our church sale, and it sold for $11.51. We sold one more sheep from the nativity scene. This actually went with the king and the other sheep that the woman bought. She came back hours later and bought a second sheep. This American Eagle men's XXL button-down shirt was purchased on 99-cent day. We've had it since like December, and it sold for $9.50. This came from the Genie storage unit. It was just a basic Lenox Santa Christmas ornament. Wasn't worth a lot of money. I ended up accepting an offer of $6 for it. This Colombian commemorative half silver dollar sold for $19.99. We got these 6 Coca-Cola Silver Fade Mercury glass. They had like glitter words Coca-Cola glasses from the free church leftovers. They sold via the eBay international shipping program for $22.55, and they were going to the Netherlands, and I do believe that's the first time I've sold there. This Farberware 10-inch skillet was picked up at the it was the end of a church flea market, and you paid $10 a person to get into it, so we paid $20 total, and you got to take as much stuff as you wanted, come and go as many times as you want, and this sold for $13.99. It would have sold for much more if there was a lid, but I didn't have one. Another piece of clothing from the Home Shopping Network storage unit. This one sold for $10. This Chico's tank top was picked up at one of our last visits to a 99-cent day, and that would have been in February, and it sold for $13.59. And I only bought it because it was a size 3XL. This piece took a long time to sell. It was a sterling silver, like Irish. It was like a slide pendant, and it was marked 925. I only paid 2 cents for it at the bins because it weighed barely anything, and it finally sold after probably like 6 months for $17. Another 99-cent day find. I only bought this Chico's blouse because it was new with tags, because it was a size 1 and it was a petite, and I really try to stay away from their smaller sizes and their petite lines. It was purchased in December, and we finally sold it for $9.90. This was so cute. It was a dandy rocking chair singing Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. It came in the Genie storage unit, and it sold for $23.19, and it sold really fast. I got this cut up cake party book in a lot of cookbooks that I bought from the local auction, and it brought back such good memories because this is the book my mom would give us at our birthday time, and you got to pick one of the cakes in it, and she would like initial the pages and like write what years each cake was done, I guess, so we wouldn't repeat. But yeah, it was always a favorite of ours. So this book sold for $8.79. I paid, I think, $2 for a lot of maybe like 20 cookbooks. This was not a brand I was familiar with, but it was an Ashworth quilted bucket hat. I just decided to look it up. We got it in one of our storage units, and it sold for $10.39, and it probably sold within like a month of being listed. We got these Coca-Cola glasses in a free pickup. There was 4 of them. They were from the 1970s. They had like a stained glass look. I listed them for $24.99, and I accepted an offer of $20. I got this vintage crock pot at the same place I got all of the nativity scene figures. It was a free estate clean out. It even had the instructions with it. It did have a little bit of chipped paint on the side. I accepted an offer of $17, and since I had nothing into it, it was a good sale. I got 2 of these Nordic Ware Christmas holiday bunch tree pans in the Genie storage unit. This was the second one to sell, and it sold on an offer for $10. All right, we have a lot more coins coming up. I'm going to blow through them really quick. I had all of these put together as a lot because they weren't worth much individually, and they sold for $29.99. The same person also bought another one that was a 2-cent piece from 1871 for $20. They bought another set of 4 coins that were just nickels for $12.50. They bought a silver barber $50 for $12.50 and a silver bullion 1-ounce coin for $38.25. These political Jim Beam decanters were adorable. They were decent size. I think they were about a foot tall each, and obviously one was an elephant and one was a donkey. I got these free from someone that lives in my neighborhood that is retiring from selling on eBay, and she just gave me a bunch of her unlisted inventory, and I accepted an offer of $32.39 on them. This shirt was from 99-cent day, and it was bought in October of last year, so we had it close to a year. Looking back, I don't know why I bought it. Yes, I like Bob Mackie, but it was a size small, and I just do not move small sizes easily. Ended up selling an offer of $9. This new in the package Playtex bra was picked up at the bins. We only paid 36 cents for it by weight, and it sold for $11.99. All right, more coins from a different buyer. I think this was the 3rd buyer we had on this weekend. This was an American Historic Society Constitution commemorative silver dollar. It sold for $21.59. And that same person also bought an Olympic coin from 1988 for $21.75 and an Olympic coin from 1983 for $22. More items from the Genie storage unit. There was tons of vintage Christmas ornaments, and there were these 3 flocked Santas, and they sold for $13.59. Another 99-cent day item out the door. This one we've probably had for about a year. Sold for $9.49. I will be so glad when we sell out of all of our clothes. Vogue pattern. It was like a zoo fabric book that you would make from Vogue Patterns. Came in the Genie storage unit, sold for $10.39. This was an item that I looked at it and I'm like, should I look it up? I don't know. And then I decided to, and I'm glad I did. It was an empty Barbie bubble bath bottle from 2004, so it's now considered vintage. We got it in the storage unit that we paid up for, and it sold for $18.99. This wolf knife, There was no name brand on it. It was just like a stainless steel folding knife, but it came in a nice collector's box. It came from the unit we paid up for, and it sold for $8.79. And as promised, here is the second Hummel chimney sweep riding a pig. This one sold for $19.99. Another coin, American Historic Society Silver Morgan Dollar from 1900. It sold on an offer for $32. And we had 2 sales on Poshmark that weekend. I sold a bundle of Rainbow High dolls. It was this one and then a peach colored one. They sold for $42 total, and our earnings were $33.60. Those came out of the storage unit that we paid up for. And then the other Poshmark sale was this Y2K Express, new with tags like camisole. Once again, it was a size small. I picked it up on 99-cent day. We've had it forever, and it sold for $14.
So I hope you enjoyed seeing all what we sold over that weekend. Obviously, there was a lot of coins, but yeah, we hadn't shipped out that much stuff in one weekend, probably since like last holiday season. So let's hope that that means, you know, sales are picking up and we've made it out of the summer slowdown. All right, we appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.